Hey everyone, it's Andy here, and today I just wanted to talk about some large dependent stimulus payments that are coming pretty soon as part of the Biden relief plan or the COVID relief package that the Democrats are pushing through Congress. We should be seeing this pretty soon, and the two big ones that I think will probably have the largest impact are the child tax credit and the third dependent stimulus check. These are both likely going to come in the next few months, and I just want to give you a bit of an overview and potentially the five to $10,000 payment that many families could be getting by the middle of the year. If you find this information useful, please consider liking this video or subscribing to keep getting new videos like this and related to the stimulus, taxes, saving, unemployment. I post about twice a week, so hopefully you'll find these useful. So let's talk about the child tax credit. So this has been around for a while. It was passed in previous legislation, and it was generally, to help as a way to fight child poverty and help households during economic slowdown. It's really designed to help children. So currently, today, you can you get a credit of $2,000 per qualifying child, and there's a whole list of rules to qualify, which I'll post an article for below. But generally, if you're under 17 and you make less than 200,000 as a single or 400,000 as a couple, you can get the $2,000 child tax credit. So it's a pure credit on your tax return, and you get it paid when you file your taxes. It's paid taxes. So what the current child tax credit stimulus approaches under the Biden plan is to expand it. So you'll see it'll expand for the different age groups, and it's a pretty considerable expansion, $1,000 to $1,600, and it's going to pay monthly. And it's only going to be this expansion and this monthly payment for the coming year. It's really designed so that people can get cash in their pocket sooner as opposed to getting it via the tax refund at the end of the year. So how it's going to work, it's going to provide $3,600 or $300 a month for those who choose to take it monthly per child younger than 6. Now, this is for every child. So if you have multiple children under the age of 6, you'll get $3,600 for each one or $300 per month per child. And then for children between 6 and 17, it's $3,000 or $250 per month. And the logic behind this is that it's more expensive to raise and feed younger children as opposed to older children who'll have school and access to meals at school. So it was broken up between these two. So $3,600 per child younger than 6 and $3,000 for every child between 6 and 17. So you have to be under 17. If you're over 17, you won't get this payment. Like a lot of credits, it's restricted to people who are earning up to 75,000. There is a phase out level above that, but to get the full credit, you need to be earning less than 75,000 or less than 150,000 if you're a couple. And generally, they'll use a 2020 tax filing year. I'm hearing that they may allow you to go back to 2019, but it's generally the previous tax year. Now, this is a tax credit, so it will have to report it in your 2021 return, but it'll be reconciled. So if you get overpaid or underpaid, you'll reconcile it there, but you will get it in July. So you're almost getting an advance credit payment. And the cost of this stimulus is expected to be about 120 billion. So it has, raised some eyebrows in the Republicans, and critics are basically saying that this is a free handout to people who don't work as well. So they're not opposing the credit because the child tax credit is popular. It's a pretty bipartisan credit. But because it's going to people who don't work, it's essentially going to allow people who stay home or are not working to get this credit as well. So there's some criticism that it's not as well targeted as it could be. But I'll talk about it a bit later. This will start probably paying from the middle of the year if it's approved as part of the COVID legislation. The other big dependent stimulus is this $1,400 check. So this is a third dependent stimulus check. There was two. There was a $500 and $600 one, and I know a lot of my viewers have seen the videos I've posted on the last second dependent stimulus check. People are still waiting for it, especially non-filers. That's coming through slowly, and they'll have to either claim it in their tax return or get it through the new non-filer tool that's reopening up. But this 1,400 third stimulus check, this is both adults and dependents. So like the previous second one was 600 for adults and dependents, this is going to 1,400, and it meets Biden's pledge of a $2,000 stimulus. The difference with this one, which hopefully this gets through Congress, again, these are not yet approved, but there should be because Democrats now control Congress and the President, Joe Biden, is Democrat. So they should get through, and they have the budget reconciliation approach to get it done. But this is going to be expanded, this $1,400, to go to college age children, because the previous two dependent stimuluses were only limited to those 17 and under, like the child tax credit. And that was a big loophole because there were a lot of people claimed as dependents who don't work, never got this credit. But this is going to be expanded to college age children and elderly dependent parents. So as long as you claim them in your tax return, they should be able to get the $1,400 dependent credit if you get the adult credit as well. This is a pretty nice expansion. It's going to cost a lot more, but it's going to definitely increase the pool by 4 to 5 million more people that could get this stimulus check. Again, it'll be tied to income restrictions. Right now, it's going to be the same as the second stimulus check. There is a phase out above this, but to get the full payment, you need to be earning up to 75,000 and 150,000 for couples. So it's very similar to the second stimulus check, and I have a whole article on the phase out income levels as well. But this would go to all these people. So a family with two adults and two kids could potentially get 2,800 plus 2,800 each, so $5,600 just based on this dependent stimulus, which will be a pretty sweet deal when this gets paid. Again, this will be paid by the IRS, who managed the last two stimulus payments, which should come out pretty soon. I think they'll allow it to be based on 2019 or 2020 tax returns, so we'll include more dependents that are potentially eligible for this. And per a previous video, Joe Biden has ordered the IRS to reopen the non-filers tool, so people who don't file a tax return should be able to update their data, the details, their dependents for these additional older dependents or elderly parent dependents to get this stimulus check. So I just want to give you quick examples of how this could be so generous in the coming year. And these are very simple examples, and obviously there's hundreds of different permutations around this. But if you example Mary, she's a single mom. She has two kids who are 4 and 9. She earns less than 50,000 a year. So with the child tax credit, she would get $6,600 or $550 a month for each kid, which is pretty nice. And if this starts mid-July, she'll get it for 12 months. She'll also be eligible for the $2,800 stimulus check, which is $1,400 per child. So in total for the year, she will get $9,400, and it's for 12 months out. She'll probably get paid both these payments, most of it through 2021, which will be pretty nice. And I think this will be a big help if she also gets her own stimulus check, which is another $1,400 on top of that, and plus the enhanced unemployment if she loses her job. So it's a pretty well supported government program. The other example is a couple, James and Maggie. They're a married couple with three kids, 5, 14, and 18. They earn 140,000 as a combined household income. They would get this child tax credit for two of the kids because it has to be under 17, so the 18-year-old won't qualify, but they will get $6,000 a month. But they'll also get the three stimulus payments for each of the kids, plus the two adult stimulus payments potentially. And I'm not showing the adult stimulus payments in this calculation, but that's on top of this. They'll get $4,200 for each of their three kids. So they'll get $10,000, over $10,000 for their three dependent children, plus their own adult stimulus payments. So it's a pretty hefty chunk of change for these sort of people. And I think this is why these are being considered so stimulative, because they're going to really drive these people to hopefully spend this money, keep the economy going, go for holidays as the COVID vaccine comes out and people travel more. So this is really going to spur a lot of economic activity, which is the purpose of the stimulus payment. So the big question is, when will I get paid? So, that's what most people will ask. Again, this is all based on the COVID relief bill passing that's going through Congress. Again, I think this, unlike the previous stimulus bills, this can just go through with Democratic support through the budget reconciliation process, which is already what Pelosi and Schumer and Biden have indicated. They're trying to get bipartisan Republican support, and I do think some Republicans will hop on the bandwagon when they realize they can't fight it. They may just support it, but this will get through. The question is, when, and most likely middle of the year is when I think they should all be paid out by. But again, the qualification and guidelines is all based on income. This is still being finalized in legislation, but I think it'll stay at the 75,000 for singles and 150,000 for adults. That was pretty consistent for both the child tax credit and the dependent checks, and that's based on data that meets the right profiles I could use to check the most. So I think that'll be done. It probably should be based on 2019 or 2020 tax data. So if you haven't filed a tax return and your situation in 2020 from an income perspective was much worse than 2019, I strongly suggest you file your tax return, and vice versa. If it's not, you should probably wait a little bit. So when do these payments start? So the child tax credit monthly payments based on all the media and what I'm reading. They would start as early as July 2021. So once this is implemented, the IRS will pay this. They probably have to make system updates to do a monthly because they don't have the systems in place to process it monthly. But this will be done by the IRS. Again, they'll probably use 2020 or 2019 tax data to determine who's eligible. And they'll also have obviously an option for non-filers. The stimulus checks, assuming the package gets approved in March or early April, which is what the Democrats are projecting in policy's latest thing that came out today, the stimulus check should get paid in April. So that's the $1,400 for adults and dependents. That should come out in April. It may take a few weeks to pay out for the new set of dependents, the over 17 and the elderly parents, because those have not been programmed. But most of the other checks should come out pretty soon. The IRS has done this 3 times. They should do it. Non-filers always have challenges because their data is not up to date, but I'm hoping with the new non-filer tool that Biden has signed an executive order to roll out, that makes this whole process a little bit easier. And then again, how will this be paid? Direct deposit or check based on payment information in your tax return or how you get your benefits through Social Security or Veterans Affairs. They may also provide a tool for non-filers to update their payment details, but I think definitely the stimulus checks will come out through direct deposit. That's the fastest way for any kind of payment from the IRS. Check for those who don't have direct deposit. The CTC monthly payments, I suspect they will strongly push people to go to direct deposit because that's the easiest and most efficient way for these to be paid. But again, more details will be released on that. They have to give a check option by law, but I think direct deposit, check, debit card will be there. Direct deposit is your best bet to get this on the most regular schedule. So make sure your tax return or your Social Security or your Veterans Affairs have your latest bank account details in the next few weeks so that you don't miss out on this payment. I hope this video was useful to you. And like I said, please hit the like button so that more people can see it. And then obviously subscribe to get the latest updates. Thanks and goodbye.